I used to think there was nothing more exhausting than raising 3 children. That was until I watched those 3 children raise children of their own. Now that is exhausting, on a soul-deep level, watching them spoil those kids rotten while pretending to be saints about it. My name's Marion, though most of the time I'm just grandma or mum. I'm 72, widowed for over a decade now, and I live in a modest but well-kept bungalow at the edge of town. I do my own gardening, pay my own bills, and still read 3 books a week. My memory's sharp. My joints aren't what they used to be, sure, but I get around fine. Still, somehow, in this family I've become invisible. I wasn't always like this. I used to be sharp in other ways. Strategic, persuasive, respected. I was the one people in high places called when they needed someone to handle things. I wasn't famous. I wasn't flashy. But I had reach. I worked behind the scenes in corporate development for over 30 years, mostly for the same conglomerate. They called me the fixer because I didn't just find problems. I saw things 5 steps ahead. I helped select CEOs. I cleaned up internal disasters. And I was damn good at it. But you'd never guess that from the way my family treats me now. My son, David, the middle child, was always the charming one. All smiles, sweet manners, and just enough discipline to seem like a good kid. He did all right in school. Mediocre, if we're being honest. But the kind of mediocre that's coated in charisma. You know the type. He coasted. Always had. Always will. If someone's around to clear the path for him. David married a woman named Sylvia, who had champagne tastes and the patience of a sugar-high toddler. She raised their kids like delicate royalty, especially the eldest, Brandon. Brandon is 15 now. A teenage hurricane, unchecked confidence, and unlimited access to his mother's wallet. He's the kind of boy who scoffs at homemade meals and complains if the Wi-Fi drops for even a second. He owns more designer sneakers than books. He's never been told no without someone apologizing after. And yet, I love the boy. I do. Love makes you foolish like that. It was a Sunday afternoon, the kind where everything moves slow and sticky. David and Sylvia had brought the kids over for one of their rare visits. Really, they just wanted to drop the kids off and spend the afternoon running errands, which probably meant brunch and a walk through that overpriced home decor place they like. The kids stayed behind with me. Brandon mostly sat on the couch glued to his phone, mumbling about how slow my internet was. His younger sister, Lily, was colouring at the kitchen table. The youngest, Max, was making my cat deeply uncomfortable with his grabby hands. I made them grilled cheese and tomato soup. A classic. Brandon sniffed the air and looked mildly offended. "You don't have Uber Eats here?" he asked. I smiled. "Not for grilled cheese, I don't." He rolled his eyes, but ate anyway. Later, when he finished, he didn't bother clearing his plate. Instead, he pushed it aside with the back of his hand and slouched into the cushions like he'd been through war. I was wiping down the counter when I heard him mutter, "Ugh, why does Dad keep dumping us with this useless old woman?" I froze. Not because the words hurt, though they did, in a dull, familiar way, but because of what followed. David laughed. Not a big laugh, just a quiet chuckle as he strolled into the room, back from his little break. I didn't say anything right away. I just stood there with the dishcloth in my hand, staring at the streak of soup on the counter I hadn't wiped yet. My heart beat slower, not in sadness, but in a sort of old, iron-heavy silence. That kind that settles in your bones. Useless. I've been called many things in my life, never that. They left eventually, off to their busy lives. No thank yous, no hugs. Brandon asked if he could take a soda for the road. I said no. He took it anyway. That night, I sat on my back porch, watching the light fade over the hedges I trimmed myself just last week. I thought about how long I'd been dismissed in this family, how gradually it happened. You start being helpful, then convenient, then optional. Eventually, you become background noise. But I remembered something then. Something David never knew. See, he works at a big company, fancy offices, always expanding. He's a mid-level manager now, but he talks like he's the CEO. The job came to him 5 years ago like a miracle. He never really understood how. I knew, though, because I made it happen. 5 years ago, after David had been laid off from his second marketing job, he was spiraling. Credit cards maxed out, Sylvia threatening to move back in with her mother, Brandon still young enough to believe his dad was a superhero. David applied everywhere, heard nothing. So I called in a favor. The CEO, Pauline, and I go way back. We used to sit across from each other in boardroom meetings when she was still cutting her teeth in business. I helped guide her through her first hostile takeover. We respected each other, so I called her. "Pauline," I'd said, "there's a young man applying for your junior operations role. His name's David Marsh. He's got potential. Not flashy, but steady. Reliable." Pauline hesitated. "Marsh? He's not showing a strong resume, Marion." "He's better than the paper says," I replied. "He just needs a push, and he's mine." That was all she needed. She hired him on the spot, gave him the smallest desk in the office. Sure, but the rest was up to him, and he did all right. He's still there, got promoted twice, thinks it's all merit. I never told him. Didn't need to. It was enough to see him stand on his own. Until now. So the next morning, I brewed a strong cup of coffee and sent a short message to Pauline. "Hope you're well. Thought you'd enjoy this clip of Brandon. He's got your granddaughter's attitude, I swear. Also, wondering if David's due for any evaluations? Let me know if I can help." She replied within the hour. "He's come a long way. But yes, we've got leadership reviews next quarter. Want me to ruffle him a bit?" I smiled. Nothing dramatic, just a gentle reminder. Later that week, David called me. His voice was tense. "Mum, did you ever know someone at my workplace?" I played it cool. "Why?" "Well, the CEO mentioned you, said she remembers you fondly, that you're the reason I got hired." I let that hang in the air a bit. "You are the reason, aren't you?" I took a sip of my tea. She owed me a favor, that's all. Silence. Then, "Why didn't you tell me?" "Would you have believed me?" He didn't answer. Now when they visit, David actually looks me in the eye. Sometimes he helps clear the plates. Sylvia, still oblivious as ever, chirps about redecorating their office nook. But David, he watches me differently now. As for Brandon, he hasn't apologized. I don't expect him to. He's still young. Still cushioned by the illusion that the world bends for him. But maybe one day he'll find himself backed into a corner, needing help, needing someone who sees more than he shows. Maybe then he'll understand what useless old women are really made of. We're not invisible, we're just watching. And remembering everything.